Just as the master sculptor of stone chisels out only the superfluous matter from the stone and then thus unveils the statue, which has all the characteristics hidden, he just removes all of that. Similarly, masonry chisels out the imperfections in the young initiate, converts him from the rough ashlar into a perfect ashlar. Each one of us, my brethren, if you select properly, is a gem waiting to be unveiled. I call your attention first to the ceremony of initiation when you had a rebirth, so to speak. This answers some question about what you asked a little while earlier. After being blindfolded, you were led around the lodge, and then after assenting to a few important questions concerning your integrity and value system, including a belief in the Almighty, you took an obligation. Thereafter, the hoodwink was removed. You thus transitioned from a state of internal darkness and external light to that of light all over. This was your symbolic rebirth or initiation. The first objects to which your attention was directed to were the three great, though emblematical lights of Freemasonry, the volumes of sacred law, the square, and the compasses. You were then imparted several lessons of morality, the primary duties and responsibilities. This phrase could be considered your youth, your brahmacharya, the celibate student, when you are expected to acquire useful knowledge that will set you towards a path of fulfillment in the first degree. The divine spirit, the soul, and the body, represented by three equally paced distinct knocks, show the separation of soul from the divine spirit and the absence of a complete union between the soul and the body. In the second degree, that of passing, you are urged to study the hidden mysteries of nature and science. You are directed to use this knowledge to the discharge of your duties to God, your neighbor, and yourself. This phrase would be considered your manhood, your grihastha, the married family man, when you use the knowledge thus far gained to discharge your worldly responsibilities. In this degree, the separation of the first two knocks, but the combination of the second and third indicate that the union between the soul and body has taken place to form a complete man by the study of the liberal arts and sciences, thus paving the way for a true knowledge of the Almighty. Finally, in the third degree, that of raising, you were taught to approach your inevitable destiny, death, without fear. The circumstances were exactly opposite to that of the first degree. You were brought in with internal light as gained in the first degree, but there was external darkness around you. At the appropriate time, you were informed that the light of a master mason was with darkness visible, serving only to express that gloom which rests on the prospect of futurity. It is that mysterious veil which the eye of human reason cannot penetrate unless assisted by that light which comes from above. This phrase will be considered your old age, your vanaprastha, the hermit in retreat. When you, after having discharged your various responsibilities, are setting your own life in order so as to be ready to meet your Maker. The fall of our master Hiram Abif, as portrayed in this ceremony, is an allusion to the death of a physical body. In this degree, the combination of the first and second knocks and the separation of the third symbolizes the release of the soul from the body through the gates of death and the combination of the soul with the divine spirit, thus leaving the base body aside. Thus, Freemasonry works for the complete atonement or at-one-ment, the jettisoning of the body and all the baser elements, leading to the perfect union of the soul and the divine spirit, the Atma with the Paramatma, as Right Worshipful Dr. John Reginald said. Now, brother, you may ask, what about the fourth state? The fourth state, we are told in Hindu culture, is sannyasa, or the wandering recluse. On a lighter note, my answer to that would be that the past master would qualify for the sannyasa. Many masters, after handing over charge, fade away for reasons best known to themselves and may charitably be described as wandering recluses. Others more committed may take up the next set of responsibilities, first at the regional level and then the grand, and finally in service of the craft in general. I hope many of you avoid the sannyasa stage and continue your involvement with the craft. You may also note that the allegory and symbolism does not stop there. The very design and layout of King Solomon's temple, as described in the Holy Bible and referenced in our rituals, is in the shape of a man. The temple itself is in the shape of a man. This is no mere coincidence. The physical temple that was King Solomon's temple and the allegorical temple that is us are one and the same. The symbolism could not be starker than anything you can imagine. You are thus instructed how to live your life as an upright man, an honest man, a better man. This, in a nutshell, is the purpose of Freemasonry. I'm sanguine that I've answered to some extent the first 4 of the questions that I'd raised at the beginning of my paper, namely, what is Freemasonry? Who are appropriate candidates for Freemasonry? Why are we attracted to Freemasonry? And what did we hope to get out of it? Now let us look at the next 2 questions. Did we get what we sought, and what keeps us in our fold? The answer to these questions, my brethren, is for you to ask yourselves. If you are happy with your experience as a Mason, my hearty congratulations to you. May you continue to support this noble institution for the rest of your lives. If, however, you are not, then a serious introspection is the need of the hour. I strongly exhort you to seek able and willing senior brethren to help you navigate your path forward. At every stage, the candidate has shown several symbols, told several truths, reminded of his manifold duties and responsibilities. The process of instruction is on. This process never stops. It continues in the several higher degrees and orders in Freemasonry. Believe me, my brethren, there are enough and more to keep even the most ardent student occupied for the rest of his life. It is for the student to open his eyes, his ears, his heart, and his mind to absorb the teachings, overt and subliminal, symbolic and allegorical. Our rituals, my brethren, are not mere words to be parroted out at infrequent intervals. They have been carefully chosen by our erudite ancestors, preserved and transmitted down to us through millennia. They contain the distilled wisdom of all ages, of all the great religions of the world. They cannot and should not be tampered with. I strongly exhort the brethren to read, understand, memorize, repeat endlessly, and deliver to others these rituals. As Right Bishop Dr. John Reginald mentioned, it's only by doing so can we energize that part of our brain that governs our moral and intellectual abilities. It is only by doing so that one can expect to fully appreciate the hidden mysteries so carefully veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. There are at least 4 stages to pass through while reading, understanding, and practicing these ritual teachings. Number 1, the first and simplest is to just read it as a mere story, good as a pastime for a while, then after some time, boring, repetitive. The second is to memorize those rituals and subsequently deliver them regularly at lodge meetings without recourse to the book to fresh candidates. This will help you begin your journey of understanding the content of these rituals. The third is to seek for the hidden mysticism and symbolism and allegorical references within the text. It is by first recognizing these that one can begin to appreciate them. And finally, the fourth, my brethren, is to read in between the lines, to speculate. Once you attain this level of proficiency, you've clearly gone from being a free and accepted Mason to a speculative one. Glory be to God on high. Now we come to the last question which I raised earlier. How do we explain Freemasonry to the profane? My brethren, let me remind you of the tale of the 5 blind men who were instructed to describe an elephant by touching it. One touched the tail and said that elephant was rope-like. The second felt one of the legs and reported that the elephant was shaped like a pillar. The third ran his hands over the body and claimed the elephant was a huge drum. The fourth fondled the trunk and the animal was shaped like a big fat snake. Finally, the fifth person who held the ears informed the elephant was shaped like a big flat dish. Now all were correct, yet they were also all wrong. Each one had felt a part of the whole. They drew their conclusions based on inadequate data and subsequent misinterpretations. Freemasonry, my brother, is somewhat like this elephant, and most of us are like these blind men. We only see a small part of the whole. We may understand only a minuscule portion of the lessons therein, When we try and explain this to others, even this minuscule portion may get further diminished owing to our own inadequacies. Thus, it is best to explain to outsiders or to the profane that Freemasonry is an organization for law-abiding, morally upright, adult, chaste men who have an inner desire to learn the verities and truths of life in order to improve themselves, their families, their neighbors, and humanity at large. I'll repeat that. It is meant for law-abiding, morally upright, adult, theist men, theist meaning people who believe in God, who have an inner desire to learn the verities and truths of life in order to improve themselves, their families, their neighbors, and humanity at large. It is not for career or social advancement. It is neither for any world domination nor for any evangelizing against established entities as so often maliciously propagandized. It is because we become a better person by learning and practicing the tenets of Freemasonry that we take up various charitable and socially useful projects. Charity is not an object of Freemasonry. We do charity not for the sake of publicity, but we do charity because it is the right thing to do. There is no place for self-aggrandizement, no place for rent seekers, no place for petty people with limited vision. Freemasonry is for those who practice brotherly love, relief, and truth. Freemasonry is for those who have faith in the Almighty, hope to translate this faith into service not only of themselves and their connections, but also to all others, and practice charity of heart, charity of mind, charity of word, and charity of action. Freemasonry is for the best amongst us. Let me conclude by reciting a poem written by Brother Dan Wetherington of Anniversary Lodge number 175 of New Hampshire in the United States. This was forwarded to me by Worship Brother Tawfiq Fatehi some time ago. The title of the poem is Not One Person. Not one person ever joined Masonry because George Washington was a Mason. Not one person ever joined Masonry because Harry Truman was a Mason. Not one person ever joined Masonry because of any of our Masonic heroes. Joining doesn't make you one of these people. Not one person ever joined in order to give $1 million a day to charity or homes or crippled children. You don't have to be a member to give money. No one person ever joined because our ritual is outstanding or our minutes are accurate or 100 other things we worry about. They don't know about our ritual. They joined because someone they knew and admired was a Mason. It could have been a father, a friend, a man down the street, or someone 1,000 miles away. Who, it didn't matter. They admired him and wanted to do the things he did, and they did it by the millions. Want to help our growth? Be the kind of man someone admires. Someone will notice. So mote it be. Thank you, my brothers.
My dear brother, we had a fairly long session because I could see we had 3 doctors and 2 engineers and gave a wonderful speech, all this spellbound everybody here. And there is one doctor and one engineer has emphasized only one part of it, that is rituals, very important one. I agree with them. Because some of the brethren, senior brethren, no names, always say, why to come every time same rituals going on, repeating. And this has been, you would also heard like this thing. But the only thing they forgot, we may attend so many marriages, but the fellow is enjoying real marriage, the bridegroom. He may attend, I would attend 100 marriages, Rishokumar 150. But all these, but likewise, the fellow is undergoing the ceremony, he is a candidate. He loved to hear all these things. Because we heard enough number of times, does not mean we should not have these long rituals. Rituals are very important. Like very correctly said, it's like reading a Bible or reading a Quran and all these things. I put it the other way, not religious, because we are not to be supposed to be religious people here. We are the only Masons. Just like listening to a good Carnatic music. Any number of music, same Kalyani Ragam or Sankara Varnam, we are going on hearing again and again, enjoy it.